Did you ever think you'd be further along in your career by now? Hey, I'm Chris Hunsaker, and I want to help you change your results. If you're a talented, ambitious, but frustrated sales manager or service manager who's new to your position, or maybe you've been in a position for less than 5 years, then this is for you. You're a results-oriented individual who got to where you are now by outworking everyone around you, being self-motivated and relentless in the pursuit of your goals. But now, you're kind of feeling stuck and frustrated because your team's not as driven or motivated or disciplined as you were. And it drives you nuts. You've literally done everything you know how to do to motivate, inspire, get your team to focus, work, and execute, and start producing consistent results. Consistent success. Really get what you're aiming for. You do have some success, some great wins, but your moments of brilliance are followed by mediocrity. You can't seem to produce the top shelf results month after month and sustain your excellence. Well, you're in the right place, because I want to help you turn your frustration into excitement, hope, and absolute certainty you can win. In the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to show you exactly how you can transform the way you and your team operate and hit every single metric that matters to you. You'll know exactly how to transform your team into one that's motivated, results-oriented, and focused on consistently hitting their goals. You'll experience less conflict and stress in your work environment and eliminate the drama. I can guarantee you, you will outpace and outperform every other manager in your organization many times over, because you'll have the ability to develop talent and emotionally engage your team and absolutely crush it. You'll be able to identify key issues where you need to make changes, and then you can do so quickly and effectively so your team stays focused and on track, no matter what the economy throws at you or what the environment is. In-game adjustments. You'll have a master recipe you can repeat in any situation with any team. You'll have a success system and not just a magic bullet. You'll be more productive, have more time, earn more money, have better relationships, and even have a better home life. I can promise you at least 10% of your time back each and every week, and you'll be able to solve problems with your resources and not your time. Sound too good to be true? It's not. In fact, it's what I've been doing for the last 25 years, teaching tens of thousands of leaders and managers in 35 countries around the world. I've worked with nearly every manufacturer, both foreign and domestic, from Ford and GM and CDR to VW, Porsche and Mercedes, and Toyota, Nissan, and Mazda. The major focus of my work has been to help sales and service managers perform better in all areas of their lives. My name is Chris Hunsaker, and I'm a business performance coach. In short, I've helped thousands of managers make millions of dollars, and in the process, become the best version of themselves. The number one question I get asked on airplanes and meetings, and always in my first session, is, Chris, what do you do as a performance coach, and how can you help me? My answer is simple. I help people perform better in every area of their life. My coaching approach is simple. It's 3 things. I help managers identify what do they do when they're at their best. Then, I help them do it more often and in more areas of their lives. And finally, I help you do it on demand and under pressure when it matters most. Everyone has a master recipe for excellence, and as a coach, I help you discover your master recipe for excellence. There's only so many patterns in human behavior, and after a few thousand people, you begin to see them very clearly. All of my coaching over the last 25 years has been focused on this one element. How do I help you identify what you do when you're at your best? And once you figure out your recipe, your unique alchemy of excellence, you become unstoppable. It's literally your superpower. So in the most important situations, you can be at your best. Then, even when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, you can pull out your recipe, follow your formula for excellence, and you simply run your algorithm, work your protocol, and you turn what would have been a bad day into a great day. You can outperform and perform at your best even when you don't feel that way. This is the essence of grinding and grit. My gift is to help people build a bridge from insight, this is what I need to do, to action. This is how you do it every day. That comes with skills, tools, and frameworks. And I've spent my life helping leaders get the skills, tools, and frameworks to make the most important journey of their life. That journey is the journey from insight to action. I call this the insight to action bridge. And I help people build their own bridge so they can go from insight to action in every area of their life. Most people do not lack a knowledge of what to do. They lack the ability to do what they know. What they have is a doing-knowing gap. They lack the ability to do what they know consistently, which is what we call execution, especially when it matters most. and they lack the ability to cross that bridge, to go from despair to hope, from absolute discouragement to absolute confidence. That bridge is built plank by plank, habit by habit, and skill by skill. And I want to share with you the wisdom and experience and skill from a lifetime of coaching people around the world. Now, you need to make a choice. Abraham Maslow said it this way: every moment you're making a decision to step forward into growth or backward into comfort. What's your choice? Okay, so let's look at the most critical shift you need to make. You're a high achiever, and you've earned your promotion through hard work and great results. You got paid for your results, but now as a manager, you're paid on your team's results. And what motivated you doesn't work on them. Sound familiar? So then how do you get your team to succeed at a level that leaves your peers in frustration and your owner in awe? You flip the script 180 degrees from being frustrated by literally trying to force your team into action and trying to consistently motivate and push them and consistently fighting the drama and laziness, to having a culture where your team is self-motivated, high-performing, and focused. Your communication with your team is second to none. There are high levels of trust, respect, and your team has the skill to perform at an absolute peak, consistently and repeatedly. You've probably tried lots of different ways to help them perform at higher levels. And maybe you're thinking this is just never going to happen, or you're just fooling yourself, or you have a terrible team, or worse, you need some magic formula that you'll never find. I'm going to show you why you have been so frustrated and how to get out of that endless loop of frustration. Let's look at the old way of leadership, what's gotten you in this mess in the first place. You've probably tried many traditional methods to do all the things that good managers would do in trying to achieve their goals. Perhaps you've attended a training or courses that your company or your OEM has hosted and provided for you, where the factory was here to help. You've read leadership books, listened to podcasts on leadership and managing teams. Maybe you've watched YouTube videos or even purchased an online course, even attended an in-person seminar. Congratulations, you've become more educated in failure. It's not a knowing-doing gap, it's a doing-knowing gap. So you've tried traditional methods of management. It's just trying to be nice and, I'm your friend approach, and hey, we're all on the same team, hoping that they'll want to work harder for you. And they don't. You've tried leading and motivating by fear out of just anger and frustration, hoping that they'll be so worried about losing their job, they'll finally be motivated and do something. And it didn't work. No matter how hard you try, nothing seems to work. Or worse yet, it works for a day or a week, but nothing lasts, and you can't sustain it. It's just luck. And you're feeling totally out of control. You have some good streaks, but they're always followed by aggression, right back to mediocre. There's a good month followed by a bad month. No rhythm, no consistency. Your team shows up strong and motivated and slides back to the old habits and patterns next week. You know your team is good, and when they're on, they can compete with anyone. The problem is when you come into work, you don't know if you're going to get Super Tuesday or Freaky Friday, and neither do they, and it's killing you. Your emotions are up and down, and you don't like the person you've become. And to be frank, your team doesn't love that person either. I got to tell you, you're not alone. In fact, research suggests that 32% of organizations had the training and support to transition a sales rep to a service manager, an advisor to a service manager. Most of your training was basically, here's your desk, there's your computer, don't screw up and you better produce results. Talk about being set up for failure. But you knew you'd be different. You could do it, and you can. Just not in the way you've been trying. Well, I wanted to introduce you to a different way. A simple, straightforward way that brings about lasting change. And it's 100% in your control. In fact, you'll find that you are ridiculously in charge of your own life and your results. At the end of the day, you will fall in love with your excuse, or you will fall in love with your results. And here is how to fall in love with your results. Let's look at a new way to produce consistent results. Over thousands of managers and many patterns, there's 3 core pillars that emerge as the foundation of consistent excellence: business results. This is the recipe for success of nearly every top performing sales manager and service manager anywhere in the world. These 3 pillars will help create an irresistible culture that drives performance, results, and employee engagement. Let's look at each 3 of these core pillars. Pillar number 1 is self-mastery, the power of you. This is all about setting yourself up for success. How do you make consistency a superpower and master the habit of execution? We'll break down who you are at your best. We'll learn how you can be your best under pressure when it matters most. Here, you'll master the skill of adding and deleting habits in yourself and your team. that keeps you focused and consistently hitting your goals. With that foundation, you'll learn and apply the 7 critical shifts that you need to make in order to be a success in today's business environment with today's challenges. These are small shifts that massively change your results. Think about it. If all you did was just this, you'd double your current performance. Now, let's look at pillar number 2. Pillar number 2 is persuasion and influence, what I call mastery with others. This is about applying the skill sets of communication, connection, and performance. Here, you're going to master the ability to create and sustain emotional engagement so your team's energy and focus are at their peak and creating a winning culture day in and day out. Your team is driven, not just temporarily motivated. A master skill of any leader is the ability to control the focus of your team. And you'll be able to consistently get your team to focus on what is important now, in this moment, and execute around it. You'll be able to create in your team and in yourself the psychological resilience necessary to break through obstacles, get past challenging environments, and deal with the unfairness that always comes into us in our business by bringing the right balance of positive and corrective feedback. Can you feel that momentum and certainty that this will give you and your team, in your career, in your life? Now let's look at the 3rd pillar. The 3rd pillar is mastering the key to building unstoppable teams. Here, you'll learn the tools to handle conflict and hard conversations, to eliminate drama and lead to consistent performance, and do it quickly, upfront, and without delay. This is where we focus on building an irresistible culture of great employees who bridge the knowing-doing gap and consistently are able to do what they know. Creating an unstoppable team is all about ensuring everyone is clear with their performance objectives, how they're measured, and their role in achieving these goals. But to do this, you must start moving their focus from monthly numbers to daily behaviors. The daily behaviors that drive the monthly numbers. Because if you can win every day, you cannot lose the month. Stop and consider this. If you could absolutely master yourself, your habits, and your focus, if you could individually, one-on-one, shift the focus and the consistency of each member of your team, if you could mold those individuals into a cohesive team, is there anything you couldn't accomplish? My guess is no. Could you double your gross profit, your performance, your metrics? You would be able to get yourself and your team to do what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. You and your team will be able to put their focus where it needs to be, when it needs to be, for as long as it needs to be. You'll build the skill set necessary to own your market. When you focus on these 3 core pillars, you win the game. Instead of trying to force, demand, or make your team comply, or wish, hope, or pray you can motivate them, for a day or 2, you'll have an efficient machine built on an irresistible culture of top performer that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Rather than feeling frustrated and experiencing all the negative emotions of failing to get through to your team, you can get back to when the business was fun. Remember that? When it seemed so simple and clear? It still is. And you'll experience not just fun, but the joy of winning and the peace of mind that you got this, that you can finally win the game of managing and leading people. Not only will you find your confidence again, but it'll become rock solid. And this cascades into every area of your life, in your home, in your work, and everywhere else too. Now that I've shown you exactly the 3 pillars you need in order to reach higher levels of success for yourself and your team, I want to ask you this. Are you ready to implement these in your life today? How would you feel if you knew you were operating at peak levels of performance? How would you feel if you knew your team trusted you, had complete buy-in to your targets, and were always communicating like openly and honestly? How would you feel if you had a team that was operating at its peak level consistency? How would you feel if you and your team were blowing right past your monthly, quarterly, and annual goals consistently, record after record? This is exactly what my clients do. One of them is even now a case study at a major university because of a 400% growth in 24 months. How would you feel if your peers were coming to you and asking you what's your secret, and you had potential employees waiting to come work for you? How would you feel if you had more time for your family and you were more present at home with your family? Well, if you're ready to experience all of that, then I'll invite you to a complimentary call with me. On this discovery call, we'll dive a little deeper into your current challenges and goals. I'll help you identify exactly what's holding you back and stopping you from reaching the level of success that you desire. I'll share with you a crystal clear pathway forward. Tap the button below schedule your call. And I'll let you know if you have the ability and the character to do it. You may not fit. And if you don't, I'll tell you, because not everyone was born for greatness. I have limited space on my calendar, so click it now. So make sure you schedule your time now and don't miss out. I look forward to chatting with you. Tap the button and schedule your call. My question again, do you want to step forward into growth or backward into safety? I look forward to meeting with you and helping you become the best leader that you could be. Click the button, make the choice, and let's crush it. Thanks.